Fighting games are a genre known for their combos, their hype tournaments, and most popularly, their immense difficulty. This genre is very beloved, being a very old genre of game, with fans from the arcade era all the way up till the modern day. The genre as a whole has had its ups and downs, and recently we've approached a new high for the genre. So in this video, I'm going to go deeper into the waters of fighting games and explore what they can teach you about yourself and more. So let's explore this amazing genre together.
Oh my God, no! Okay. One more hit will do it. Oh! Gets hit low, and there it is. Punk gets his retribution, his revenge. He is your Street Fighter 6 Evo champion.
On a simple level, pulling off a combo you've been practicing and training feels really good. But to get the full picture, we need to go deeper into the thought process of high-level tournaments. Let's start with the most popular example of high-level fighting games, EVO. EVO is one of the longest ongoing annual fighting game tournaments. The game roster changes year by year depending on what games are popular at the time, but it consistently brings in the highest level of competition, with some of the most hype moments in gaming, period, being included. I'm sure, even if you don't play fighting games, you've seen this clip before. You see, there are two main ways to watch EVO. There's the strictly entertainment watch, where there's nothing wrong with it, but you just look out for combos and cool things happening. But you can get so much more out of it if you put yourself in the shoes of the players on stage. You see, typically in a fighting game, it's a 1v1, and for the sake of this video, we're going to disregard things like 2v2 Smash and 2xKO 2-player mode, because I want to focus on the aspect that the 1v1 teaches you. When you first start playing fighting games, the difference in winning tends to be whoever can execute their combos and moves consistently, because most players watch this high-level gameplay and immediately assume the only reason the players are better than them is because they're better at executing their combos. And honestly, this could not be further from the truth. Combos are like scoring a goal in soccer. They're the most flashy thing you can do, and they have the most obvious and direct outcome being a point for your team. And where fighting games correlate to this is when your opponent's health bar drops to 0. That is your goal. A base level fan will usually assume that if they want to get better at soccer, they just need to get better at scoring goals. This thinking isn't 100% incorrect, it just isn't deep enough to truly summarize getting better. You see, if you peel back the initial layer of the game, you see that the goal wasn't scored because the striker shot too good of a shot to save, it's because tens, if not hundreds of different factors were planned out and gambled on in an attempt to score that goal. The difference maker in both soccer and video games isn't who is capable of quote-unquote scoring, because at the highest level, every single player is capable of scoring. This same mindset carries along to fighting games, where once you hit a certain rank, everybody's capable of hitting a combo. The part that people don't think about on the surface is the mental battle. Moving away from the soccer analogy for now, fighting games have some of the most intense mental battles out of any game ever. It's a long, continuous string of conditioning your opponent to believe that you're going to react a certain way, and reading your opponent and what they do more often, and taking gambles on what they're going to do when given few options. This is the unseen factor to fighting games. There are still combo execution errors from time to time because obviously they're still human, and no matter how much you practice, there will be times where you mess up. But the rest of the time, at the highest level, it's all mental. If you took two people at the exact same skill level, playing the exact same character in a fighting game, and gave them both a coach, where one coach had them practice only the execution of their combos, and the other coach taught the player exclusively the mental part of the game and how they should react, I'm extremely confident that the player with the mental difference would win. So how does this teach us about ourselves? I think the best explanation would be that your playstyle is a direct representation of you as a person. Even how you play the game determines a lot about you. The best players all have their own identity to their gameplay. This theory actually has some evidence behind it. A very popular content creator in the fighting game community, Brian F., has done a video where he watched pro players' gameplay, obviously ones they've seen before, and tried to guess who they were. And while they weren't 100% accurate, they had an idea of who it was. even though everybody on the list played the same character, so there was no guessing based off of, oh, they play this character. This is very interesting to me because it shows that even in these tight limitations of a few buttons and a movement stick, there's still a way you can make yourself stand out individually. So, through this, we can establish that there is a difference from player to player, which means that there is something you can learn about yourself and how you play the game. You can also make it into your best weapon against your opponent. This especially works if you're not super famous and you've never met your opponent, because they have no clue how you're going to play up until this very set. This can still work with people you know, but they're going to have more of an idea than some random player online. This creates a loop where you can study how you play the game to learn your behaviors, and it teaches you how to play the game by watching. But on the other side, the more you know about yourself, the better you play, which can then be recycled over and over again. Another major lesson I learned about through fighting games is the ego death. This essentially means that it taught me to let go of my ego. There are a lot of things in fighting games that are considered cheesy or lame options to win. The most common example I can think of is E Honda from Street Fighter. His moves are a noob destroyer. He has a full screen head dive that he can constantly charge, and an overhead butt slam that comes out almost immediately. The most common thing people say when facing Honda is that he's no skill and that they would win if the character wasn't so broken. And to preface this, there's a difference between not liking a character and thinking the character is the reason you're losing. This segment specifically goes out to Yoshi in Smash, who is my least favorite character in any fighting game to play against. I can't stand going against Yoshi, but I've learned through playing fighting games most of my life that I am not at the top level, therefore the tier list doesn't apply to me, and even though Yoshi's S tier, I can beat any character with any character if I was skilled enough. This lesson doesn't carry up to the highest ranks in the game, but for where I'm at right now, this is true. So when you play against Honda and he has no skill, do you think that a better player than you would have still lost? If this character is so no skill and overpowered, don't you think he'd be played by literally everybody at the highest level? It may sting to accept because of how angering certain moves and certain characters can be, but if you were a better player than your opponent, you would have won. And accepting that you're worse than somebody isn't accepting defeat, and it's actually the first step towards improving so that you can overcome that player. This isn't a strictly fighting game thing. The better player will win in other games, but fighting games have this a lot more prevalent because it's a 1v1, and there's no team to blame when you lose. There are factors of teammates being worse causing to lose in other games that wouldn't happen in fighting games. The only person to blame, other than things like Smash 2v2 as I said before, is yourself. And while that hurts at first, you might as well get used to it, because you're going to lose a lot at the start. This leads me into the next thing that fighting games taught me, and it's how losing is only as bad as you take it. I'm a very competitive person, and I hate losing no matter how serious the game may be, and that has limited me in a lot of factors in getting better at games. You see, when you lose and watch over the footage, you can take it as a learning opportunity to see what you did wrong and how you can improve. The less talked about variable in this is when you're so determined to not lose, you never try new things because you might not be as good, because you're scared it might sabotage the rest of the game. But if you were to try that thing and start getting good at it, and maybe lose a few games because of it, you would win way more games that you wouldn't have won in the first place because you learned something new. So it's taught me that as much as I still don't want to lose, that I can take it in a way that makes it hurt a lot less, and I can learn from it. This video is kind of a throwback to the roots of this channel, because Marvel Tokon's coming out soon, and it's got me super excited for fighting games again. I'm hoping it brings back the urge to want to play, because I miss the competitive part of fighting games that no other game seems to bring. I think that fighting games can be a very good emotional control teacher as well. If you can't control your emotions and you get angry very easily like I do, you get heated very quickly. So it teaches you how to spend more time losing without getting as angry. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, but it definitely works. So be on the lookout for new fighting game videos soon. And if you've made it this far, I thank you for watching. And it would mean a lot to me if you liked, subscribed, or left a comment so that I can continue making these weekly videos. But with all that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and as always, God bless.